So you really believe that the governor should change his mind about suspending the open carry law for the course of this convention, correct?
Absolutely.
Why?
Well, because it's the right thing to do. I don't want to hear that we can't do it because we're doing it in a 6-block radius around the hard zone. So if you're telling me that you can't do it, then that implies that the delegates' lives are more important than the police officers' lives and the folks outside the moated gate. We don't want to divert the very limited resources that we have by watching people that, good God-fearing, law-abiding citizens that have an open carry. That's going to draw our attention in this, this tragic world that we're living in right now. And we want to have all our resources looking for the truly bad people that are going to come out here. So,
what's the mood among police officers here in Cleveland right now? Are they worried?
They're worried. They're heartbroken. We feel that we're out here on a limb by ourselves. We're looking for leadership, whether it's at a state level through Governor Kasich, and if he can't do it legally, then he can help us do it. And
you make a great point, though. I mean, why can they legally suspend it within the perimeter of the convention zone, which we know they've already done? You can't carry an open any sort of gun into that zone. And yet, when you go outside that perimeter, he says this. Let's put his statement up on the screen as we wait for this news conference to get underway. He says, law enforcement is a noble, essential calling, and we all grieve that we've again seen attacks on our officers. Ohio governors do not have the power to arbitrarily suspend federal and state constitutional rights or state laws, as suggested. The bonds between our communities and police must be reset and rebuilt as we are doing in Ohio so our communities and officers can both be safe. Everyone has an important role to play.
Yeah, that's a well-written political statement. There's no basis in reality to that. The governor could very easily declare a state of emergency and act with executive powers, according to our attorneys. So we're just asking for help. I'm not an attorney. I don't know what the law is. And if the governor can't do it and is not willing to do it, then he should be willing to help us do it, because we know it's being done at a federal level in a 6-block radius of that hard zone. And again, the delegates are no more important than the police officers and the men and women and the protesters and the supporters of Donald Trump that are outside the gated moat and the security of the hard zone. So we're asking him to do the right thing. We're asking for some help. We desperately, in this country, we need leadership that's going to step up and help and put this down. This notion that police officers are the enemy is absolutely insane to me. What's going on right now, and think about what's going on right now. It's based on a police-involved shooting in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. 4-time convicted felon with a gun in his pocket fighting with the police. It's a false narrative that Black Lives Matter and the new Black Panther Party, they were here, threatening to kill us last night when they were marching on the 3rd District here in the city of Cleveland. You can't go, and freedom of speech is one thing, but you cannot go into a theater and scream fire. And I believe that that's what's going on right now. I think that we can make that argument that you're going into a crowd of people and you're saying kill the police, and very influential people, including the President of the United States. It was just mind-boggling to me that he made the statements that he did just one day after the events, the police-involved shootings, before 1 minute of investigation was done. Very divisive. And when a credible person like that is making statements like that, it validates the false narrative that the Black Lives Matter folks have out there. We all want the same thing. We want everybody to go home at the end of the day safely. Protesters, supporters, police officers, people that are just down here to see what's going on. And we can't do that without the help of our leadership.
I mean, everybody, violence is what keeps coming to my mind. And as you say, everybody wakes up in the morning wanting to go home at the end of that day. And the president is going to speak at 4:30. Here's a little bit of the statement that he has already released, which gives us a suggestion of where he's going to be going here with this statement. And let me read that to you and get your thoughts on it, Steve. We may not yet know the motives for this attack, and he's talking about Baton Rouge here, but I want to be clear. There's no justification for violence against law enforcement. None. These attacks are the work of cowards who speak for no one. They right no wrongs. They advance no causes. The officers in Baton Rouge, the officers in Dallas were our fellow Americans, part of our community, part of our country, with people who loved them and needed them and who need us now, all of us, to be at our best. Your reaction?
Very nice. I appreciate hearing that. I wish that's what he was saying a day after the police-involved shootings in Minnesota and the day after the police-involved shootings in Baton Rouge, because that would have gone a long way. The divisive things that he said, and the governor of Minnesota, that is actually what has sparked the murders of police officers. And these are not, you cannot compare a police-involved shooting, police officers going out and doing their job and defending their lives, to the absolute murder, setting up and murdering of the Dallas police officers here in Baton Rouge. You know, I find it curious that the president all of a sudden wants to wait and see what the motivations were. He didn't want to wait and see what the motivations were when he was making the divisive statements.
I mean, I think after Ferguson, one of the most important lessons that everybody took away, because we know the federal government investigated what happened in Ferguson, and the DOJ went there right away to do an investigation, and what they ended up finding in what there's no doubt was a thorough investigation was what the circumstances were not at all what people thought they were. There was not a hands up, don't shoot moment, and yet you continue to hear that chanted at these protests, and it does seem that it is incumbent upon the president to say, whenever something happens, whether it is, you know, an officer who's gunned down or a person who is gunned down in the line of duty, we need to all take a breath and investigate and figure out exactly what has happened here. All that being said, you know, I looked at a piece that was written by Senator Tim Scott, who is an African-American senator from South Carolina, who is a Republican. And he said that, you know, he feels that we need to not ignore the struggle and the feelings that some black people feel, that they are pulled over often. He said that his brother was once pulled over, and, you know, they said they thought he'd stolen a car because he was driving a Volvo. Mm-hmm. What's your reaction when you hear that from Senator Scott?
Well, you know, I agree. You know, if there is legitimate issues out there, then they do need to be addressed. But all the issues need to be addressed. You know, the president very clearly said that African-American males between 15 and 35 are 3.5 more times likely to be approached by police officers. But what he didn't tell you is that they're being approached because of the crime rates in the African-American communities. And I'm not calling anybody a name here. That's a reality. You know, the homicide rates, the black-on-black crime is off the charts in this country right now, and those are issues that real issues that we all need to address and embrace and get. You know, there's lies, damn lies, and statistics.
And life is life. And as you point out,
life.
I mean, when you think about what's happened in our inner cities and you look at the homicide rates that are climbing, and you think about the children, people who've been killed in gunfire that is drug offense related, and you wonder where the march is for those people, those innocent lives as well. So we need to take a good hard look at what's going on.
And we can do it. We can do it as a community. But listen, there is not one neighborhood in the city of Cleveland, and I would bet you my life that there's not one neighborhood in this country that the vast